to shift gears to something that's really fascinating to me. Is you said you were in the Coast Guard. You were on the East Coast, and if I'm looking at your age, you were there at something very interesting time.
Well,
There,
yeah, I was
When was that?
80.
there was a movie made about it. Were you on that? Were you in that storm?
Clue us in what you're talking about, Jeff. I'm not
Hurricane
there.
Bob.
It was the one where they made that one where the fishermen went out into that storm
Perfect storm.
Perfect Storm. Were you in that storm? Was that your time period?
I haven't seen that movie, but I was there and during Hurricane Bob. That's what they call it.
I'm gonna look up to see if Perfect Storm was during Hurricane Bob.
And our objective was to take the
two separate
41 footer.
storms.
Yeah, take the 41 footer across Long Island Sound to up the Thames River up in Connecticut to keep that vessel safe. That's all we did, and that was a neat time.
All right, hold on. A Perfect Storm.
Right back.
Good old Bob.
I want to see
Hurricane Bob. I still have the flag from the Coast Guard vessel I was on, the ensign, the U.S. ensign, the Coast Guard ensign, and I have it framed of the damage it did because no one else wanted it. I'm like, I'll keep it. I was hoping to go out to East Montauk or I'm sorry, East Hampton and go to one of the bars there and sell it to them. I remember that one.
So it was the Grand Banks of Newfoundland and a tropical storm.
Nowhere near.
So they didn't really see Hurricane Grace. Is there Hurricane Grace? Or is that a fictional hurricane?
I'm sure there is, but I was a Bob, so Bob would have came before.
I thought the perfect storm was the merger of two tropical storms on the East Coast.
Perfect storm, yeah. So Hurricane Grace, 1991, Category 2 hurricane that contributed to the formulation of the 1991 perfect storm. So initially it had subtropical origins, meaning it was partially tropical and partially extratropical. Don't know what that means. Maybe Greg knows. In nature, it became a tropical cyclone on October 27th. So now Hurricane Bob, this was 1991. Hurricane Grace, I want to know
Grace and Bob came together.
I want to know what it's like being on a boat. 1991 was also Hurricane Bob.
Sometimes my brain fails me, but at least I had the date right.
Yeah, Hurricane Bob was also 1991, so it was in the same season. Are you sure you weren't out there for Hurricane Grace? Or maybe they just didn't take your boat out there? Because it was the same year.
It probably didn't. It probably didn't affect Long Island Sound.
This is Outer Banks, North Carolina. Hurricane Bob was. I mean, those hurricanes were all over. All right, so the big question is, what is it like to be in a hurricane on a boat?
Yeah. Scary.
Well, they put you in a Mustang suit, which it's like a snowmobile outfit, except it's a life preserver, the whole thing, right? Yeah. And we're talking like 20, 30, 40-foot swells. And as it was coming, we wanted to get up the Thames River out of its path because we didn't want the 41-foot small boat destroyed, right?
Yeah.
So but it still got really crazy. And then I remember there's a time where the only thing that it was exposed with this Mustang suit was a little bit of my face, and the wind and rain was so bad, like I had like red marks.
So it's like wind chapping you from the wind.
And then we had some bozo call a mayday, 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 and then they gave the coordinates, longitude, latitude, the eye of the hurricane. We're like, okay, we're not going out there.
They were just messing around with
it. Was BS, yeah.
Now, I imagine there's a lot of vomiting going on in that time, or is it really once you get used to the ocean, you're no longer doing that?
I had motion sickness issues, so they had a red pill and a blue pill. This sounds like the Matrix, and you would take them. And it would make you not. I'd be like, okay, not queasy. And when you're in the Coast Guard, at least at that time, if you were green and queasy, they would just hammer in at you. They'd be like, whatever you do, don't think of a greasy pork sausage.
Yeah, exactly. Just get it out.
The anti-Dramamine.
Well, what worked best for me was a little wristband with a pressure point.
Uh-huh.
That helped a lot. But there were guys and gals in the Coast Guard that were so severe with the seasickness, they had to be discharged.
Oh, really?
And
Okay.
they would prove it too. They would put you in a simulator and they put all these monitors on you, and and this one guy, he's like, no, this guy's not joking. Monitor him all you want, and they're like, oh yeah, he's no good to us.
Wow.
if you're like they thought he was what he was like eating bad food before he gets just to get out. It's like, no,
This guy.
Wasn't faking it. So, but it's normal. Pretty much everyone, like, you get out there because, like, I'm used to the dry ground. I've been on many boats many years, and I took my wife deep sea fishing, and the waves got about 20 foot high, and I was loving it, and she's in there throwing up. But I've been on a boat for many years. But everyone, it seems
100%.
that, but a 20-foot wave is one thing. You get 40, 50-foot swells for hours on end. I mean, it seems anyone would be throwing up. I mean, how used to it can you get to that? I mean,
Yeah.
it's especially because
I don't think I could
especially
do
if
the
you
20s.
ate anywhere in the past.
yeah.
2
Some
hours.
some people even get motion sickness in vehicles, and then
Yeah.
so some people just can't. I don't know if it's an equilibrium thing
Yeah.
or they have some other, but it's.
I did as a kid get motion sickness just driving in the car. That was enough for me.
Oh, same.
Yeah, my nephews,
In the
they
back
can't
seat,
go on
but
any roller
whenever I was in the
coasters.
front seat, it never bothered me. It's always in the back seat.
Yeah,
and-
that's
oh,
what's
wait.
with that. Yeah.
Well, because you can't see what's going on.
Still to this day, if somebody's driving and I try to read,
Yeah.
forget it immediately.
That's
I'm like,
normal.
okay, I will not read anymore.
Yeah.
I don't have to do
Yeah.
that.
There's nothing in our design that makes humans meant to be in a steel cage hurling at 80 miles an hour in any direction. It's unnatural.
Well, yeah. So here's the
Fair
thing.
enough.
When I went to, as you guys know from my story, John didn't hear yet, but when I went to to have my son, I took a course on why he throws up all the time. Well, it was about his brain injury, what to do, when you have a brain injured child. So I went and took this week course, and the first question I got there to the neurologist after each lecture, you go and talk with them. I'm like, why do they throw up? Because it's horrifying, your kid's throwing up, a couple times a day. And he said it's this. He says, imagine you've never moved and you eat dinner and all of a sudden you're on a roller coaster. That's pretty much what a handicapped kid, where he's not moving on his own, he's not walking around, he never rolled down a hill as a kid. It's all of a sudden the shock of being lifted up suddenly is like a roller coaster, and then up comes the food. And I never understood that, so that's why I was kind of asking about, like, how do you
That's a
get
good
used to it?
explanation.
He's a neurologist, so he's studied this stuff, and he's worked specifically with kids because he had a brother who was like that. That's why he took that job there, because he liked it. So
It's amazing that kids don't get more. I mean, just in general, because we're picking them up and running them around and everything. It's amazing they don't get more disoriented than they do just your average kid.
that's what I want with my daughter. She sees a hill and wants to run
We're
down
not very
and roll
careful
it.
with them.
I'm like, well, there's fire ants, but go for it, and roll around, jump upside down and whatever, just to get
And
that
as
brain.
you grow,
Yeah.
like with my daughter, she had tubes in her ear, and when you're a kid up to about 6 or 7 or whatever, the skeletal or the skull structure or whatever, your ear canal is straight across, right? And as you grow older, it goes down, and that's why the tubes help with ear infections. So they theorized that because of that, kids love spinning, but when you're a full-grown adult like we
Yeah, I
are,
don't like
and
it.
their
Yeah.
nails are down,
Not at all.
I spin around 3 times. I'm like, no, spin me, Daddy.
Yeah, exactly.
no.
My daughter wants me to roll down the
Yeah.
hill with her. I'm like, I do it, and I don't feel good afterwards.
Yeah, exactly.
But I remember when I was a kid at the Lucas County Fairgrounds, they had this UFO spinning thing
Mm-hmm.
that spun like crazy.
Oh,
And
the
you-
centrifugal force spinner.
Yeah, and I used
Yeah.
to love that. If I got on there, I would be done for about 4 days.
So, have you guys been to Cedar Point in recent years as an adult?
Yeah.
Or any? So I went, and they have now some roller coasters and rides that are like at next level from when we were a kid. And
Oh,
all
yeah.
the roller coasters, I'm fine. I can even do loops. But some of those, some of
The ones
those
that
spinning
spin.
ones, I'm just
Yeah.
going, end. Please end soon.
It's not
Please
for
end
me.
soon. I'm uncomfortable. It's unpleasant. It's like Paul, I don't know if you remember, I was out in Arizona. We did New Year's Eve party decades ago. In the streets, they had all this.
Oh, Tempe.
Yeah, in Tempe. So they had one of those, one of the astronaut things where they test and you're spinning in all different directions.
Yes.
And I said,
I hate
I'll
those.
do it. I can do it. And the other people were screaming, and I was like, okay, I was expecting it to be scary. It wasn't scary. I was on there. I was quiet. I was in pain. I was like, this sucks. I don't like it. It is just it's disorienting. Not scary, but like
Disturbing.
Yeah.
yeah, it was very disturbing. I was kind of like this the whole time. I'm like, it wasn't scary, but it was so miserable.
And then you're putting your life in the hands of these carny people that construct it half drunk.
Hey, that
That's the
makes it more
fun.
exciting. Exactly, that makes it more exciting.
They got to work too.
No
man.
offense to carnies.
I think the fence is already taken. You just lost half the audience. Hey, if you like these kind of conversations and you'd like to see more, click like and subscribe to our channel. And if you're at the computer and you'd like to hear the whole podcast, click right here.